What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this planet we send it. And before we get into what we're going to be getting in today, I need to get you caught up on a couple of things. First things first, I'm doing the super boost on the compost, so you'll be seeing this video after this video later in the week. Another side project I've been working on not necessarily showing you guys. I originally did this disassembly video like over a year ago, and since COVID I've been slowly ordering the parts and putting it back together. The good thing is I'm getting pretty close to being finished. However, I'm now starting to get kickback on the parts I'm ordering, saying that they're not receiving them anymore. So I'm about $250 invested in this thing, and now I'm not able to get the parts to finish it. So I'm looking for other opportunities to be able to get the parts that I need in order to get this wood thickness planer operational again. The other item I'm working on, and maybe I might get it into this video, we'll see here, at least I'll get part of it done, at least to get it temporary fixed, is actually attaching my steering dampener using a mount that I'm going to go ahead and fabricate myself. So if we don't get that into this video, that will be in a video coming up very soon. Now, I spent a lot of time building this garage shelves to get everything organized, and then we order a few things that are just taking up huge amounts of space that I'm now going to have to basically turn into worm food. So I'm not going to be doing this on video, but I'm working on this in the back just to give you an idea of how much shredding I got to do here. But maybe I'll show you a few clips of it, but definitely not going to show you all of it. With that being in the way, it's making it difficult for me to put my stuff back onto the shelves. And so in addition to clearing that out and making some space, I also want to find an alternative to this coop that we use basically to raise the chicks into hens. Now, what I'm considering, because this only takes up, we only use this a few months, no more than about 3 to 4 months in the wintertime and less in the summertime to raise our chicks. And then besides that, it sits in here for a year, just taking up valuable real estate in my garage. So I'm going to be getting rid of this. I'm just looking for an option to basically have something that's easy to assemble and disassemble whenever we're raising chicks. Another project that I've already done sort of off the channel, again, it wasn't really much worth doing a full video, and I'm just kind of describing it. But I had these two amplifiers in my vehicles for about 20 years. They're dead now, so I just replaced those, and the sound is definitely a lot improved. I didn't realize how long the amps were actually going bad before they finally just kaput. This is sort of a preview of what's coming up in the next video, but I have went through and shifted out all the compost, so I now have just the small chunks in here, and I put the big chunks back into the compost bin. All right, and the next thing I'm going to go ahead and get you guys caught up on before we get into this video is, if you recall, on my last video I was discussing how I was out getting my rental property, or my other home, ready for rent, and that was because my father is actually getting ready to leave. So when I was out there the last time, my dad had already not been feeling too good, but when I got out there, he had decided to get a COVID test. So when I arrived, my dad had actually tested positive for COVID. He was vaccinated. He's doing better now. As a matter of fact, the vaccine was really helping him, even though he had pre-existing conditions, etc. He didn't actually get a fever until about day 8. And for those of us who have had COVID, if you haven't seen my videos, I'll go ahead and put a link right here to the videos that when I had COVID. Basically, it's about a 10-day process, and after you get past 10 days, as long as everything, no complication, after day 10, then it's basically you're past and open, and it gets easier. Well, my dad didn't get a fever until day 8, and he really only had the fever for a few days before he was wicking it. But unfortunately, I was now in direct contact with someone who had COVID, so I was taking care of him. Since I already had previously had it, and I had what I consider the 2 boosters, but basically the Pfizer vaccination, I actually just tested again recently, and I'm good, so no impact there. But I was taking care of my dad while I was out there, so that was taking a little bit of time. All right, so now what are we getting into today? Well, if you have been following me along, you have known that I have been trying to get the steering and just basically the whole front end of my Jeep just tuned up, because when I got it, there was a lot of play in it, and I took it to the alignment shop, and they basically listed, hey, you got all these ball joints bad, all these different things, and we can't even do an alignment until you get these things adjusted or fixed, because we're not going to be able to do anything. Well, I went through all that process. I installed the front track bar. I'll put that video here. And then in addition to that, and then that didn't help. And so at the same time, I was seeing if maybe only the front track bar would help. It wasn't helping my steering. Next, I'll go ahead and put a video here. I was installing the Synergy steering links for my LJ, and then that helped out a lot too, but that didn't finish my issue. And so I went and got it aligned. Everything, you know, actually got a ball joint replaced too, got it aligned, and then, you know what, it felt better, but it wasn't 100%. My steering was still a little wobbly. It was a lot stiffer than definitely before, and not death wobble, at least at this point. It just wasn't steering, and everyone's telling me, oh, Jeep's dry bad, but this was excessive, so I just kept pushing at it. So finally, when we were actually out, probably about 4 weeks ago, and I was out at my dad's, first getting started on doing some of the house preparations, I had him monitor everything under the Jeep while I was go ahead and shaking the steering wheel real fast, and we saw that the front track bar where it connects to the frame was loose and it was moving slightly. So what we did is that we went ahead and put some aluminum in there to allow it so that it basically gripped a lot earlier, and the bolt didn't go all the way up, because I was having to put like 4 washers on it just to get the castle nut to register where the cotter pin went through, or else the cotter pin was so high it wouldn't have done anything. And so after doing that, the steering was great. It was better than I ever felt it. It still was darting a little bit to the left. It just seems like it was darting, and I thought maybe the alignment was off, because the alignment people put them just dead straight center. So we adjusted it to where it was 0.8, you know, towed in, and it was working great. But then all of a sudden I started getting death wobble. So we tightened down the castle nut a little bit more. It got me home and everything, and I thought that was it. Maybe it just came loose a little bit. Still getting death wobble. So what we're going to be getting into today is some of the issues that basically some of my attempts to go ahead and fix this death wobble. So without further ado, let's go ahead and send it. Excuse me, guy, I'm gonna need these here real fast. Thank you for holding down the Jeep. All right, now we're gonna be going ahead and getting into the problem we are attempting to fix in this video. So let me go ahead and put in a clip right here. As you can see, I have death wobble, and that's what we're trying to fix in this video. So all my research on YouTube, everyone was saying if everything is tightened down good and you're still getting it's probably the caster. Well, these are my old lower control arms, and as you can see, they are not adjustable. So I ordered some Rubicon Express adjustable control arms, because these were Rubicon Express non-adjustable control arms. And let me show you that video here real fast prior to actually installing them. I'm getting ready to go ahead and head on over to the auto hobby shop and go and install these. Just in case I'm not able to show you the installation, I just wanted to give you an idea of these Rubicon Express. These things are pretty beefy, I gotta give them credit, and they're good for a 3 to 6 inch lift. And since I got a 3.5, I should be able to push the caster out pretty good, as even if I go to like a 4 or 5 inch lift difference to really get that caster and push it out. So I know if I still got the death wobble after this, then it's not the caster. Now, if you're not adjusting the caster, it's actually a pretty easy swap. All you do, and I'm going to show the video, is you pull them out, you undo the bolts, and then after you undo the bolts, you go ahead and bring them over. And the best way to go is to basically line them up so that the bolts go straight through on either ends, like I'm showing here on this video or on this picture here. And then once you got them aligned up, then for the adjustable ones, since I was adjusting the caster, the ones that I got, I think were good for 3 to 6 inches of lift. And so, since they're that good, I decided to go ahead and push the lower control arms at 1 inch. So you can see after I lined them up, I went ahead and I opened it up a 1 inch and basically just locked it into place at that point, and then put them back in. And to be honest, the first one went in pretty good to where it's a little bit more hang, but on the one that on the passenger side, that one was a pain. I had to get some assistance. Unfortunately, I was at a shop to where there was not a hobby shop, to where there was other people that could help me out. So after adjusting the caster and finally getting in there, in addition of changing my oil and rotating my tires, because it's Jeep season now that the desert is starting to cool off, on the drive home, still had death wobble. Came on the very first one. So pushing the caster way forward did not help the death wobble. Although it did tighten up the steering though, and I am pretty happy to see that. Once I get the death wobble, you know, removed, what I think I'm gonna ask the alignment shop to do is keep my caster within spec, but all the way forward in spec, because it is actually helping tightening down my steering so it feels a lot more firm than it ever has before. So what we're going to be doing today is removing, this is the Heim joint on the axle side of my front track bar. We're going to be pulling that out and hopefully putting some things in there to kind of stiffen it up. Because here, let me show you this clip. Just prior to installing my front track bars, my lower control arms, I went ahead and did the shake test with my GoPro, and I recorded some things. And there was one thing that I missed because I was looking at the GoPro and it's such a small screen. But after getting home and taking a look at the video, I saw this. So that was moving way more than anticipated. And definitely, when we first installed and did the same wiggle test, it wasn't moving at all. So I want to hurry up and address this issue so it doesn't get any worse. So the plan for today is, number one, I'm going to try to put in some filler material in here to kind of tighten that up so that it doesn't wiggle as much until I can get it professionally fixed, or even, hopefully, fix it long enough for me to get some Jeeping going before I bring it to the shop. All right, I got a plan in place. Let's go ahead and send it. We are going to be taking last night's beverage of choice. Basically, this 5-cent fix is my last attempt before I either need to weld in and re-drill out the hole in order to make it smaller, or potentially even just replace the front track bar. But I think the just welding it in and drilling out the right size hole is all I'm going to need. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get the Jeep fixed. So let's go ahead and cut this up to basically 2 parts. I'm going to show you here as I... All right, I cut 2 parts. You saw me cutting towards the top. I cut this one because this is the curved one. I'm going to be wrapping it around this part, the tapered end. And then the flat part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it, well, it looks like I need to cut it down a little bit more, but I'm going to wrap it just around this base right here so that it fills in where it was drilled out, and hopefully reduces the amount of shimmy within the bolt itself right here. And I'm wrapping it around the bottom just so that it doesn't go up much further past this, because right now when I put this in, it's going all the way up until it basically compresses this sleeve here right now. Alrighty, I just stripped out this castle nut. So fortunately I do have others, at least I'm pretty sure. I just need to go find them real fast. And I'm going to go ahead and reattempt this. If I strip out a second one, I'm going to have to reevaluate this. That did not go as planned. So we are going to adjust fire in order to hit our target. So what we're going to do is, now that it's focused in there, the aluminum kept like creeping up, and you can see the threads have been damaged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the threads with the tap and die set. And then where the washer is, I'm going to put a washer on the bottom because that seems to be holding it pretty good, and hopefully that'll prevent it from creeping up. And then I'll put a washer on top, and we'll kind of sandwich and see how that does. All right? Well, now I got a new plan in place. Let's go ahead and send it. All right, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video, unfortunately on an unhappy ending, but that's just kind of life, you know. It's not all happy endings. And so I got two courses of actions I'm going to do. So I don't know how well you're able to see the problem in the video clip, but what was happening is I was trying to tighten it down to 55 pound-feet. The bolt was just spinning within the heim joint. So I think the heim joint has gone bad. So I'm going to give Synergy a call about that. However, the other thing that I'm going to talk to Synergy about is the hole is just too big for the heim joint Synergy provides anyway. So even if they send me a new heim joint, it's probably still not going to fix the problem. I'll still have to have a workaround to do that. So I'm going to talk to them and see if they might have maybe a bigger size bolt in the heim joint they might be able to send me, because what I replaced the front track bar originally was a Rubicon Express front track bar, and the Synergy front track bar was a stock replacement, whereas the Rubicon Express was a 5/8 bolt. So either I'm going to replace it with the Synergy as long as they have a 5/8 bolt, or else I'm probably going to just have to switch over to another one that has a 5/8 bolt and just replace the whole Synergy front track bar. Now the one I've been eyeing is the Curry Rock Jock, and they're definitely known for quality, so I'll probably end up going with them, you know, but I'm going to be exploring the lower cost option first with Synergy. So we'll see how that goes. So unfortunately, this is going to end part one, and we'll have to continue part two after I do a little bit more research, talk to a couple of vendors, and then we'll go from there. And hopefully I'll be come back and we'll be finishing it on that one. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.